Greetings, one and all. Zenthone reporting in with another episode of Analysis. Now, as per what will become tradition, I will admit, yes, I am not wearing my full costume right now. But this is supposed to be a crash course episode, because although I do have another episode that I'm working on. It was not planned at all, but because I saw this movie recently, I thought I should at least make some mention of sorts. Okay, so let's see. Where to begin? Oh. So, Miyazaki. Wow, what a wondrous director and artist. I mean, like, Hayao Miyazaki has done 17 movies in his filmography career, and not one of them has been bad, to my knowledge. I mean, as far as I know, they have all been masterpieces. His pieces, albeit are not, like, maybe not, are not a series of sorts. They all just wrap you in, okay? I mean, you get engulfed by all the creativity and the concept and story that he portrays. In 2013, he released what is to be known as his last film. No, he's not dead. That is actually a good thing, or that's a happy note. Actually, he's choosing to go into retirement. I have read that he wanted to go into retirement multiple times before, but this time, as to Miyazaki, this time is most definite. One reason for wanting to go into retirement is because he thinks he's getting too old. He may look it, but I don't know, he doesn't look bad. And also, he wants to make room for new animators. I see some nobleness in this. Studio Ghibli producer Toshio Suzuki, a fellow co-worker of Miyazaki, has revealed that Miyazaki does plan on continuing making more manga, albeit not making films of them, but because, for one thing, other than, like, the previous statements I have made, Miyazaki also says that it puts a bit of a strain on him. I can probably see why. I mean, because when animating, there's a lot of demand and focus, so I can understand that. And really, when you get up there in age, well, I guess you don't want to strain yourself too much. Hayao Miyazaki also plans on, we're working a little bit on the Ghibli, however you pronounce it, museum, once he's retired. It has even made a comment or a little joke saying that maybe he'll become an exhibit himself. A fellow animator, Isao Takahata, publicly stated that that even though Miyazaki has claimed that he's going to retirement this time for sure, Takahata believes that it's just going to be like a non-permanent kind of deal, thinking that, Miyazaki's probably going to take his time, but Takahata believes that Miyazaki's probably just going to go on a hiatus and just coming back eventually, just like Hercules did back in GT. Okay, hiatus might be the wrong word, but still, well, I guess, if you're... I can understand on what Takahata's talking about, because Miyazaki, wow, such an acclaimed artist and animator, and I guess you could say, you've seen it before in a few other medias or shows or whatever, where, someone who's done something for so long just can't get away from doing what they previously did and just love so much. And for the record, this is Miyazaki's 6th acclaim to retirement. Anyway, so backstory done and over with. Miyazaki's final film is titled The Wind Rises, released in 2013. Japan-wise, and here on the state side, we get it in 2014. Yesterday I watched the movie with Sonoya, as per recommendation from Sukumaru. The movie was quite enjoyable, because, you see, this movie stands out a little bit different from Miyazaki's usual traditional movie style, is that this one actually is actually in history. Miyazaki usually does an kind of fantasy kind of world thing, with or without paranormal activity kind of stuff, or, well, mythical, not, mythical properties. The story takes place during World War II, and follows the story of Jiro Hiroshi, who, since he was a little child, had a fascination of planes, and throughout the movie, you see his acclaim and progress in his field of engineering of planes. Now, I didn't expect to be enveloped in this movie, albeit I didn't expect to dislike the movie either. And apparently, well, the movie did actually envelop me. Now, being a plane movie, and revolving around a person who has dreams of planes, and it being a Miyazaki film. Wow! You got the traditional flight scenes. I've seen some of the extra features, or special features, of Spirited Away, that Miyazaki, well, in all of his movies, he always seems to have, no, he does, not seems, he always has a flight scene, or he's, well, or somehow he puts in a scene where, you're gonna be up high, and you're gonna be flying, or whatever. And planes, well, it's gonna be inevitable. While watching this film, you'll notice something what I like to call a Miyazaki moment. I think, I don't entirely know what his course was, or his course of action was with this, but I do know that, when you try to listen to the sound effects of, like a plane engine or the occasional train, you actually start to know, if you listen really closely, you actually notice that they actually just found that all the sound effects sound like sound effects from a human mouth rather than an actual engine sound effect or whatever. To me, I don't know, like I said, it feels like a Miyazaki moment when they have someone's mouth making all the sound effects. I don't know, I guess maybe it's one idea of it is sort of like, I don't know, trying to put that moment inside the head of a person's mind playing out in their head. Or something else, kind of like, I don't know, maybe it's supposed to be like in Jiro's mind, it's maybe like, a slightly heart-pounding moment. Now, okay, since that is a review, there would be maybe a couple of spoilers, but you're watching this video, so you were expecting it. A couple moments where that would be a labeled Miyazaki moment would be when there's an earthquake occurring during the, I believe, first train scene. It's really noticeable there, and, so, now, okay, they don't see the earthquake right away, but of course when it does happen, if you were to see it literally happening right in front of your eyes, you're obviously, with the kind of visual, you're obviously going to be having your heart pound, wondering, oh my god, what is going to happen when it reaches me, or whatever. Or when, later scene, when Jiro is with a production team or whatever, test piloting a plane, or having some planes doing a test run. Another Miyazaki moment right there, where someone is making the sound effects of a plane engine, and well, I can see the heart pounding there is probably with just Jiro, who has a fascination with planes, just seeing one just take off, and or just seeing whether the test flight will be a flop or a success. Now, I don't think I'd really want a Miyazaki moment, or that kind of Miyazaki moment with mouth sound effects being in every movie or around all the time, but I thought it worked out, at least with this movie, and, it worked. So, so it worked, and, if used again, well, I just hope it's for the appropriate type of film. Now, throughout the film, well, character development is nearly non-existent. You see, that was one thing I tried to notice throughout the film, and really, there really didn't seem much of it. You see Jiro being a guy who has a strong sense of goodwill and justice, I guess, even when he was a young child, as the film starts with it. If there was any character development, or with what character development there is, as you usually expect when you try to look for character development, you usually try to see a person reaching a low point of point A, and then gradually getting to a much higher point of point B, But with here, if any character development, it's either like, like he seems already fully grown up already. Throughout the film, it really seems like, he already that he kept his morals, stayed a very nice person all around. And if anything, it just only seemed like, like only a slight slope, not very gradual. However, in replacement of natural character development is actually his knowledge of planes. What kind of character development we get is actually, instead, it's sort of like on how to improve his planes. Because you see, the kind of character development that we get instead is actually Jiro's understanding of airplanes and their dynamics and such, and also trying to bettering their design. Because you see, as the story points out, that early 1900s or whatever, or at least or whatever time period, Japan's planes were all behind the times. Such as like this. Hey, I'm still playing with a PlayStation 2. It's so awesome. I can't believe look at all those graphics. Sorry, Billy, but PlayStation 2? You gotta get with the times. We're with PlayStation 4 now. Aw, man, shucks. See what I mean? That's what Japan is like in this movie. For a majority, half of the film, they're still using paper or cardboard or something for the planes instead of metal. They even show a comparison later when Jiro and a few other fellow co-workers of the plane company that he's working at are visiting Germany for plane designs. I'm going to point out that you're going to notice Jiro smoking. I'm saying that because it's something that I noticed, because alright, you would kind of expect Jiro to be a type of person who wouldn't smoke, right? I don't know. You usually kind of think of that from most good-natured people. But they kind of make it a point. They even have it as a bit of a joke a time or two. And it seems like a good point. It seems to work. I'm Stein, okay? Stein smokes. I don't actually smoke. I don't like cigarettes. Hookah's good. Now, one thing I can understand on why they're doing the smoking thing kind of deal is because, well, I've heard from people, and actually from some experience myself, that smoking is a bit of a relaxer. I can see why. I don't know the reasons of why, or the mechanics on how tobacco and stuff does that for the human body. I just know that it does, and I've heard from it does, and thus I just go along with it. So I can understand why they do some smoking. Because, because in the movie, Jiro is actually a designer, and really, if you're going to be designing things, it's going to play a big part of your job, and thus, well, I've been through the same thing before, trying to come up, right, only example I got is something when I had to come up with homework and, design things, or actually when I've edited videos before. Including this one! Even the action itself, personally, alright, on a side note, I don't like what cigarettes do, but I honestly like the action of exhaling, I guess. It's kind of weird, so, but that's just a little bit about me. I've been meaning to do this gimmick for a long time. Suckers are awesome. Now, another Miyazaki tradition that I've noticed, or actually that I have seen from the special features of Spirited Away, is Miyazaki, well, when he does his films, he takes life experiences and puts them in the movie. The example for Spirited Away was the bicycle that I don't know, that one girl pulled out of that one spirit person, which was actually something that happened to Miyazaki himself, where he pulled out a bike out of a river. In this movie, there were a few things that I actually had some speculation on what Miyazaki actually used from his own real life. Now, spoilers ahead, just as a reminder. The things that I want to put in and say that Miyazaki probably used from his own personal life is the macaron fishbone. It seems to, I don't know, play a little small, big part for Jiro in designing a wing and whatnot. So I pretty much, so if something so little sort of had a type of significance, well, I feel like Miyazaki probably got that experience from eating his own macaron from when he was in college or something. And the same thing for the supervisor design, for his supervisor. It's a little short guy. Now, okay, he seems like a really tough guy, a tough, no-nonsense guy. But all around, as the story progresses, you actually see that he's actually a nice guy. He's not all that bad. He's just a little serious and all that. Another Miyazaki experience, I'm assuming, is probably the wedding. I know, okay, if you've seen the movie, then you would know that it's really, all really sudden and short. I do not know Miyazaki's personal life or anything, alright? My speculation on the reason why for the wedding thing is because out of the Miyazaki films that I have seen, there haven't been any weddings. Actually, to what I know, this is the only time where there was a wedding, or an actual wedding that took place during the movie. So, and, usually if you're making a final, if you're making a final whatever, you usually want to have it as a send-off. So, I don't know, I guess why not put in his style of what happened in his wedding. Oh, and by the way, this is me assuming he's married. I don't see why not. And actually, I was actually quite spot on when, I don't know, during the wedding scene. Because, you see, now, I think it's maybe because of where the wife was previously in the film. I think they just tried doing, a type of spirit type of wedding. Or theme, I guess, where, I guess, the spirit has chosen to live with a mortal man and chooses to, come down from the mountain and then go and seek the man and live with him. And man accepts or whatever. That's the kind of visual I got when I saw the two women, the bride and the host woman. You'll understand when you see the movie. Walking through that old style hallway of those Japanese buildings or whatever, houses. Just walking, and I thought, I instantly thought, it's like a spirit, it's like a wandering spirit going through the woods or something. I was actually correct, so I was a little psyched that I got it right. Now, I'm not going to spoil it too much because, well, the ending's a little bit of bittersweet. I don't, and I kind of want to think that maybe, Miyazaki didn't want a completely happy ending, because I don't know, maybe Miyazaki was just trying to, wanted to, give a bit of a shocker or shocking emotion to the audience they probably didn't expect. I will not spoil it, but I will say that, it's a bit of a tearjerker if you're, one of those people who gets emotional. I should probably also mention that while doing a little bit of research before this interview, or this review, Miyazaki's father was actually a plane engineer. Yeah, go look it up! So, I don't know, I guess maybe, in a way, maybe there was, some dedication towards his father. The movie wasn't dedicated to his father, albeit it was dedicated to a couple other guys. I'll get into that later. And, let's face it, like I stated even earlier, a Miyazaki tradition is that there's always a flight scene, and this movie is about planes. And a plane engineer. So, obviously, the guy's gonna, like the idea of flying and all that. So another thing I think is, maybe one reason why Miyazaki has a bunch of flying scenes in all of his movies is all because he likes the idea of flight. And he might have had that fascination of flight since he was little, whether it was because or not of his father working with planes. Now, like I mentioned before, the movie was actually dedicated to a couple of guys. The movie was actually dedicated to two individuals. The supervisor, who may actually be the proof to my theory of maybe the supervisor being based off of Miyazaki's previous supervisor for whatever job when he was younger. I could be right about that. And the other guy, dear Horikoshi himself. Yeah, he's real. I didn't see that coming. I'm guessing that maybe the movie like plays off of like on a few actual events or whatever. And what I believe is that I don't know, like I guess Jiro Hirokishi is actually the real one. Actually, did have a bunch of influence on current planes today. You know, of like such as like a flathead screws. So like yeah, albeit of course yes, it's still a fictional story. So a few things would still be fictional, but you know like some is well a little bit non-fiction. There was a war then, so. And what I mean by war, well, there was like the indication of World War II happening or going to happen. It didn't happen yet, but of course, you know, by the end of the movie, you kind of find out that it sort of did happen. As Sukumaru explained it, he said that it was that the movie took place during 20 years before World War II and ended after. As far as I know, I think the movie took place during the 1930s. Alright, now I'm going to give you, like, you know, a few final analysis, but it's not going to be up to par as to what I'm hoping will be my traditional analysis videos, because this one's supposed to be a short crash course video. Not because it's a Miyazaki film, but albeit maybe because it is. The film is visually stunning, okay? You just feel, and the story, well deserved of emotion placement and stuff, and, you know, now, a few things seem, well, some people may see that it was a scene. Now, some people may see that some scenes may have been something that didn't go anywhere, but actually, I think it's just supposed to be real time and also, well, you know, like some story development. Albeit, maybe it didn't do too. Maybe some didn't do too much, but a lot of the movie did work as a whole. Okay. Up in Japan, there was actually some controversy back in 2013. I don't know, something about, I didn't care much about it, but there was some controversy, but obviously, you know, it still got good ratings and got approved or whatever, so, you know, like, I guess the controversy got resolved, or it's just, like, you know, laid on the rug and not really that much of a big deal. Now, soundtrack, I don't expect one. I mean, like, because really, it was all mostly background music. There is one song I've yet to look up the name of, but this one song that does play during the credits and was, I believe, used for the American trailer. Well, it sounded peaceful from what I recall. It was a day ago when I saw the movie and the trailer and all that. To add to this, I didn't even know there was another Miyazaki movie that came out. I didn't even know about it. I didn't find out until yesterday when Sukumaru, well, told me about it when I saw him right before seeing Sonalia. Look, I don't like look on like a Ghibli message boards or whatever, but like, you know, but I feel like I should have known about this or something. Now, as a final movie before retirement, this movie was just spot on. Okay, now, and as you're gonna be knowing from, you know, my later videos soon to come, hopefully, I'm not really gonna be having a rating system. If you haven't figured that out from my first episode of, you know, like with Man of Steel. But really, like, this movie is just such an acclaimed movie or a movie that just deserves a viewing. And whether you buy it or not when it comes out in DVD in a few months or a year, good for you if you purchase it for home entertainment. Regardless, it's worth a watch. And Miyazaki, look, like, you have left behind such a legacy. Myself, along with many others, like, you know, like, we enjoy your stories, we enjoy your work, like, we marvel at your imagination. If I may, I can speak for others that, you know, I myself and along with others, we would like to claim to be like you. You know, like, currently, I'm attending college just to be a graphic design. because, like, I have a bunch of ideas, and I want to share them. You've obviously inspired many people. And, well, this is why I brought this down. Miyazaki, hope you have enjoyed your retirement. And if you do come back, well, then that'll be a treat for everybody. Both your fans and yourself. But for whatever you do, I hope that, well, I can assume you lived your life to the fullest and brought joy to everyone, to all your fans and whoever has seen your movies. Here's to you. Not much of an alcoholic drinker, but I still like it. This was an analysis video, and stay tuned. Zinphone reporting in. Okay, yes, my analysis for The Wind Rises is over, but just before I put in the last nail in this box and ship it out into, like, for viewing public and have this uneditable on YouTube, I have to point out that, okay, while doing a little bit of extra research while I was editing this video today, I found out a few more things, okay? I still have the theory. First off, I want to point out that I still have the theory about Kurokawa being, a real supervisor for Miyazaki. Well, some of the stuff that I looked up while editing was that it wasn't Kurokawa who had a dedication for him. Otherwise, probably his first name would have been listed off in the credits, or that on the websites. Turns out the movie was dedicated to both Jiro Horikoshi and Tatsuo Hori. The story is still fictional. However, with Jiro Horikoshi, his business and all of that is all truth. It's all non-fiction, okay? But the fictional part is everything that happens in his personal life during the movie. And The Wind Rises was based off of a short story back in 1937 of the same name by Tatsuo Hori, and Tatsuo Hori is a writer, a poet, and a translator from the mid-20th century, who also did a fictionalized biography of Jiro Horikoshi with his, through up to his development of the Mitsubishi A5M and its successor, the Mitsubishi A6M0. Anyways, I still go by what I thought before, okay? It might have been like a few weeks ago, but I still believe it was a very good movie. And, by the way, when you see it, the wind blowing during the final testing near the end is symbolism for, you'll know what I mean. Zinphone reporting out, and please tune in for another episode of Analysis.
Me